Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest comic book versus video. I thought I would mix one more of these here and then go back to some of my other playlists, mainly because it seems like there's been a lot of positive feedback with regards to this new series. Lots of good comments, lots of good suggestions as well. So I may just make this a permanent series going forward very soon. But in this case, I wanted to do two characters that have been long favorites of mine for who knows how many years. I mean, these are two characters that I've been reading their comic books for a good time period. They're so similar to one another. I thought to myself, why not just place this with regards to this video and then see what the ultimate outcome is. And I imagine that there's also a huge fan favorite versus of these two characters and many other parts of the internet too. And that's because, again, the draw associated with them, they're so similar to one another, you can't just help but like both of them at the same time. But it has to do with this. You're looking at a representation of it now. In this case, it's the Punisher versus Judge Dredd. Who will be the ultimate victor with this particular battle? So let's go ahead and let's talk about all the great info associated with these very two interesting characters. So for starters, we have first the Punisher, one of my favorite characters of all time, especially when it comes to Marvel Comics. Here you have someone who is basically waging a one-man war against criminals, and he's been doing so for a good number of years. His popularity within Marvel Comics has caused him to have his own mini-series at first, and then it became several other series altogether. He's had a bunch of one-shots. He's also had several movie reboots as well, 3 of them if I'm not mistaken, and on top of that there's the TV show too. So when it comes to all this, it shows why he's continued to be a fan favorite after all these years, and that's basically because of this. Here's one guy basically by himself, although in some cases he does have his partner Micro within some of the vicinities nearby. He's taking on all these hardcore criminals, basically using his own tactics, his own intelligence, his own willpower as well. Here's someone who can essentially go up against entire factions, whether they be the mafia, or whether they be terrorists, or whether they be even other ordinary citizens, and in some cases actually other superheroes slash villains themselves, and he's able to take them down all by himself. And of course that also ties into his mantra with regards to him going for the kill shots. He absolutely has no qualms about going there and killing anybody that he believes is, of course, guilty when it comes to deserving that type of punishment. But yes, he's been a fan favorite of mine for these number of years, and so I thought, let's see how he would do in this battle. On the other side, we have Judge Dredd, the top cop within Mega City 1. Here you have someone who's been essentially taking on many of the evil factions and evil characters within Mega City 1 for a good number of years as well. And what's interesting is that comic book ages in real time, so how he shows now in his older age shows how long he's been doing this type of battle. And he's even taken on supernatural characters when it comes to the Dark Judges. He even takes on other judges themselves as well when it comes to facing people that basically oppose him. And he does it very similar to the Punisher, where in a lot of cases it's down to him just using his own smarts, his own intelligence. He's got his gun with him as well, maybe some other accessories such as his famous bike, but there he is doing all of this, knocking down almost an impossible task within Mega City 1 with the huge population tied to it. But he's the judge, jury, and executioner, and he's able to do this and rise to the very top and remain at the top when it comes to being the top law enforcement there within the entire city. He absolutely has battled other characters too, including infamously stuff associated with Batman, and then also Predator, and then aliens as well. Even Mars attacks has come into play too. So again, someone else that is truly feared, very strong when it comes to their abilities. So let's see how they would do against each other. Punisher versus Judge Dredd. When I was reading all this information, as far as their histories and everything, as far as what they do, their abilities, I think this is the closest, absolute closest you can get to a near draw when it comes to these two guys. Like, there's almost zero to slim chance that you're gonna have somebody become a victor. Either both of them end up living or both of them end up dying, because that's how equal their prowesses are. Here you have two guys that can basically take each other out, but it's going to be a very, very long, drawn out process. I totally imagine this happening over a multitude of days, over a multitude of locations as well, down to the last bullet, if you could even reference something like that. And even then, it's probably going to be down to their bare hands. And that's because here you have the Punisher, who has taken on, like I mentioned a minute ago, superheroes themselves. He's taken out the Hulk. He's taken out Wolverine as well. He's taken down Spider-Man, and in some cases, he doesn't really attack Captain America because he respects him so much, but he probably could have given Captain America a good battle when it comes to that particular instance. And here he is doing all of this, even taking down zombies whenever zombies have taken over the world themselves, doing this all by his lonesome self, using again his genius tactical advantages. I mean, here's someone whose battle prowess is almost equal to Captain America himself. He's easily able to accept anything as far as the battlefield itself. He's easily able to access in his mind the best strategic standpoint and then figure out how to do it. As somebody once mentioned within one of the Punisher Max comic books, he's the most dangerous man to have ever walked the earth itself. Here's someone that is able to do all of this all by himself and have a willpower that is absolutely unmatched. I remember reading in some of the comics that he's also had Ghost Rider try to do the penance stare on him, but here he was 100% able to withstand it because he feels pain all the time. That's what drives him. Pain is essentially his drive, like his actual inner power. And that's why the penance stare had nothing to him. And in another situation, the Purple Man was trying to do manipulation of his mind, but he withstood that powerful set of telepathy or whatever it was, telekinesis that the Purple Man had, because again, his willpower was absolutely to the test, far beyond what anyone else on a normal human level does. And then Judge Dredd would still be able to do a lot very closely similar to what the Punisher does as well. Here's someone who is again taken on hordes of aliens, which are not easy to defeat, obviously, in so many movies that we've seen now, and some of the crossovers with the Predator movies as well. Aliens are not to be underestimated, but Judge Dredd was able to do that. He's even taken on the Predators himself, too. Also, key alpha apex type creatures that are hunting only the best of the best. And then Judge Dredd was able to use his tactician abilities, his ability to go in and then take on any type of battle as well. We saw that also with the infamous movie, beautiful movie, that was the Dredd movie from 2012, if I'm not mistaken, where he almost took on the entire skyscraper itself, a horde of enemies that was within the skyscraper, and he survived to the very end. So in a battle like this, two of these guys fighting against one another, you would have both of them shooting each other, many hits, many misses as well. Not misses like, in other words, like they didn't strike and were aiming bad, but misses along the lines of they were able to get out of the way, because that's how clever they are when it comes to both of their abilities. And then using other tactical advantages like hidden bombs, maybe even something else like in terms of trip mines and other type of weaponry that they have at their disposal. So Judge Dredd would probably have a little bit of advantage ahead of time when it comes to his infamous law biker or law motorcycle and the abilities and the weapons that are associated there, especially when you have something like that could almost like soar into the sky itself. Unless Punisher has his own famous van, then that's where it would create a form of disadvantage. And then also Judge Dredd would have the advantage of using his infamous gun as well, because it would have so many accessories within that one little gun that could, at least for the briefest of instances, forces outmatch the Punisher when it comes to his more basic guns, because the Punisher essentially just has a little bit of bullets and very little varieties when it comes to that, but maybe he'll have a knife or other type of long-range weaponry outside of a gun or knife. But as far as who the victor is, ultimately, I'm going to have to give it to my boy, the Punisher. And it's not because he's a fan favorite of mine. It's just because logistically, the Punisher would ultimately win. When you have someone that has gone up against the Hulk himself and has beaten the Hulk and has beaten Spider-Man and has beaten also Wolverine, has also taken on Bullseye, he's taken on the Kingpin himself. He's taken on some of the other major factions, especially like in the Mafia and so on. Like, he's taking all of these on with his 100% absolutely driven willpower, his inner hatred for the enemies that he has. Once he has that inner hatred targeting someone, there's literally nothing on earth that can stop him. That's why, like I mentioned a minute ago, he was considered the most dangerous man to have ever walked this earth. That's not a small proclamation. That's somebody that can essentially give and or walk the walk and talk the talk at the same time, and then give 100% back and more at whatever is trying to oppose him. When you have this guy that was able to do all these things, and even down to essentially just his bare hands, he is truly a very dangerous person. In this case, it would be a far drawn out battle, but even by the tiniest, slimmest actual chances, he would win. He would ultimately win this battle, but I foresee him being the victor just for a short time period, because he would probably die of his wounds shortly thereafter. So maybe it would be more on the lines of a Pyrrhic victory where both sides ended up losing, but at least for the kill shot, I think it would be absolutely Punisher becoming the victor and then just dying out shortly after, because of this very long, drawn-out contest. But let me know what you guys think as far as this. Is it right? Is it wrong? Who would win in this ultimate battle between the Punisher and Judge Dredd? I would love to hear what your thoughts are with regards to that below. So, all right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care. Bye.